This week, something historic is happening. A company is going public, but not just any company. Potentially, the most valuable IPO in the history of the stock market, SpaceX. Report says the IPO price is $135 per share. The company could be valued around $1.75 trillion, and trading is expected to begin on Nasdaq around June 12. But SpaceX is only the beginning. Right behind it, Anthropic, the company behind Claude AI, has already confidentially filed for a US IPO, and OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, is waiting in the background. So this is not just one IPO. This could be the start of a massive AI and space IPO wave. SpaceX, Anthropic, OpenAI, almost $3 trillion in potential valuation. But here's the part that should really grab your attention. You may never click buy, you may never choose SpaceX, Anthropic or OpenAI, but your money could still end up owning them through your pension, through your retirement account or an index fund, whether you said yes or not. And that raises one uncomfortable question. Are these the biggest opportunities of the decade, or are everyday investors about to become exit liquidity for the people who get in early? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what these three IPOs are. I'll show you the bull case, why some of the smartest people on the planet believe this could be a once-in-a-generation opportunity. I'll show you the bear case, where others think everyday investors are about to be used as exit liquidity. I'll show you the crypto trap that is catching people right now, because some investors think they are buying early SpaceX exposure when they may not be buying real shares at all. And that mistake could cost you everything. Let's get started. Okay, let's start with what just happened. SpaceX is reportedly preparing for one of the biggest IPOs in market history. SpaceX just confirmed its IPO price, $135 per share. The company is valued at $1.77 trillion. It starts trading on Nasdaq June 12. That is not normal. To understand how big this is, Saudi Aramco held the record of the biggest IPO since 2019. That IPO raised around $25 billion. SpaceX is reportedly raising around $75 billion in one shot, 3 times bigger. So if that happens, SpaceX could instantly become one of the most valuable public companies in the world. And right behind SpaceX, Anthropic, the company behind Claude AI. Reuters reported that Anthropic has confidentially filed for a US IPO. Its latest valuation was reported around $965 billion. And then there is OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT. OpenAI has not filed publicly yet, but it is clearly part of the same AI IPO race. So we are looking at SpaceX, Anthropic, OpenAI, artificial intelligence, infrastructure, the future of technology, all moving towards public markets in the same window. Now, here's the question I want you to sit with. Why now? Why are these giant companies rushing to go public all at the same time? The answer to that question is the most important part of this video, and I will get there. But first, let me explain what an IPO actually is. IPO stands for initial public offering. Now, why do companies go public? There are usually 2 reasons. Number 1, they want money to keep growing. And number 2, this is the one I want you to remember. Early investors want to cash out. They got in years ago at much lower price. Now they need buyers. And the bigger the hype, the easier it gets to find those buyers. Keep that in your mind, because we are going to come back to it. Now, let's look at the SpaceX properly, because this is not a simple story. SpaceX is actually 3 different businesses wrapped in one. Business number 1, the rocket company, government contracts, NASA mission, reusable rocket, real revenue, real technology and real achievements. Business number 2, Starlink, millions of subscribers across 150 countries. People in remote villages who never had internet, now they do because of Starlink. This is a genuinely amazing business. Real customers, recurring revenue every single month. Business number 3, and this is where it gets complicated. xAI, Elon Musk's artificial intelligence company. It was merged into SpaceX before the IPO, and it is burning money. billions of dollars. Now, Morningstar, one of the most respected financial research firms on the planet, just published their analysis, and they said SpaceX is significantly overvalued. Their estimate of the real value, $780 billion. That's a 48% below the IPO price. So you are being asked to pay nearly double what a top analyst think it is worth. Here's the question that should be in your head right now. If the insiders who built the company are selling at $1.77 trillion, what do they know that you don't? The bear case is simple. A great company is not always a great investment at any price. If SpaceX goes public at around $1.75 trillion, ordinary investors are not buying early. They are buying after years of private growth. They are buying after venture capital funds, private investors, early employees, and insiders already captured a lot of the upside. That does not mean SpaceX is bad. It means the entry price matters, because once a company comes public at a massive valuation, it has to grow into that valuation. It is not enough for SpaceX to be amazing. It has to be more than amazing. It has to justify one of the highest valuation in stock market history. That is hard, and there is another risk: control. If public investors own shares but Elon Musk keeps major voting control, then investors may own part of the company but have very little say in how it is run. So when you buy SpaceX, you are not only buying rockets, you are not only buying Starlink, you are also buying the Elon Musk factor. And that is both the bull case and the bear case. Because for many people, Elon is the person they want to invest. But here's also one of the biggest risks. So the question becomes, are you buying the future of space, or are you buying the peak of the hype? Now, let's talk about Anthropic and OpenAI. Anthropic is the company behind Claude AI. And Claude is real. Businesses use it, developers use it, creators use it, and companies are building workflow around it. And Anthropic has become one of the most important AI companies in the world. Reuters reported that Anthropic confidentially filed for the US IPO on June 1st, putting it ahead of OpenAI in the race to public market. Now, this is where the story becomes interesting, because Anthropic was built around AI safety. The CEO, Dario Amodei, has spoken publicly about the risk of AI. Anthropic's message has always been that powerful AI needs to be developed carefully, because when a company goes public, the pressure changes. Public markets demand growth, they demand revenue, they demand profit, and they demand higher stock prices. And that creates tension, because AI safety requires caution, but Wall Street rewards speed. So the question becomes, can a company built around AI safety survive the pressure of public market? This is the Anthropic question. And then there is OpenAI. OpenAI has not filed publicly yet, but it is clearly being watched as the next major AI listing. ChatGPT is one of the most famous products in the world. The adoption is massive, the brand is massive, the influence is massive. But again, the question is not, is OpenAI important? Of course it is. The question is, at what price? Because AI can change the world and still be overvalued. Both things can be true. By the way, if you are finding value so far in this video, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so this video can reach more people. Thank you so much. Now let's get back to it. Now, okay, stop. This part is specifically for crypto investors, and I need you to hear this clearly. Right now, on the crypto exchanges, Binance, Bybit, and others, you can find tokens that claim to give you SpaceX shares. Before the IPO, early access, pre-IPO exposure. It sounds exciting. Do not touch this. Here's why. These tokens are not real SpaceX shares. They are synthetic derivatives backed by something called an SPV, a special purpose vehicle. A third-party company creates a financial wrapper. You are buying exposure to that wrapper, not the actual company. If SpaceX delays its IPO, the token crashes. If the company that issued the wrapper goes bankrupt, you lost everything. These tokens have swung 40% in a single day. That is not investing. That is gambling dressed up to look like investing. The only way to actually own SpaceX when it goes public is through a proper brokerage on the Nasdaq from June 12 onward, under the ticker SPCX. That's it. There is no shortcut. Please protect your money. Remember the question I asked at the start, why all these companies moving towards IPOs all at the same moment? And here's the answer. The early investors, the founders, have been holding these shares for years. Sometimes 10 years, sometimes 15 years. They need liquidity. In simple language, they need to cash out. And to cash out, they need buyers. Not a few buyers, massive buyers, big enough to absorb hundreds of billions or even trillions of dollars of stock. So who is big enough? Index funds, passive funds, retirement accounts, pension money, Vanguard, Fidelity, ETFs. This is where the story becomes serious. Most people think if I do not buy SpaceX stock, I'm not involved. But that is not always true, because if a company enters a major index, funds that track that index may have to buy it, not because the fund manager decided it was a good investment, but because the fund has to follow the index. That is how passive investment works, and that should make you ask a question. Let me give you both sides honestly. The bull case: SpaceX has real revenue, real technology, real contracts with government. Starlink is genuinely changing how billions of people access the internet. Anthropic has real enterprise customers at serious scale. AI is not going away. It is the infrastructure of the next economy. The people who bought Amazon and Google at their IPOs and held made life-changing returns. Maybe this is the moment, the bear case. Amazon fell 80% after its IPO before it recovered. Uber has never traded above its IPO price for a sustained period. The technology was real. The entry price was wrong. And here's the uncomfortable historical pattern. Every time the biggest, most hyped IPO all happen in the same short window, it usually means the insiders knew the window was closing. So what do you actually do with this information? Here are 4 options, simple and clear. Option 1, buy on June 12. You can do this, but you are buying at a peak hype. That is historically the hardest entry point for everyday investor. If you do this, treat it as a small speculative bet, not your life saving. Option 2, wait 6 to 12 months after the IPO. The lockup periods expires, insiders sell, price often dips, then you get a better entry. This is what many experienced investors do. Option 3, you already own it and you don't know it. If you have an index fund, once SpaceX enters the S&P 500, your fund buys it automatically. You get passive exposure without active risk. And option 4, skip it completely. That is also a valid strategy. Missing an IPO is not a loss. There will always be another opportunity. Protecting what you already have is also investing. And the most important thing is, whatever you decide, make it because you understand it, not because of hype or not because of FOMO, and not because someone on the internet told you to. And there you have it. You have the information now. Use it. So here's my question for you today. Are you buying on June 12th? Are you waiting for the dust to settle? Or are you sitting this one out completely? Drop in the comment below. I genuinely want to know where you stand. I read all the comments. And don't forget to follow me on X. I post the latest crypto and macro news there every single day. That's where I share stuff that moves too fast for a full video. Also, join our Telegram community. We are growing there. The links are in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.